Hello, and thank you for joining me tonight. This video is another story time kind of video. One of you said vibe with me time, and I love it. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name right now. But I wasn't able to record what I wanted to record this week, but these videos are a little bit easier, so I will make up for it next week. This sharing experience will be kind of speaking a little towards relationships, but I'm going to share with you a little about how the relationships with my parents have affected me. Particularly, my mom had an effect on how I feel about myself and my relationships with other people, particularly my romantic relationships, I would say, had the most effect. And my father has to do more with my relationship with my own self-worth and what things, what I can do, what I can achieve. So in no way am I trying to be disrespectful of my parents or rude about them. I just want to be honest because, like, no one's perfect, you know? Nobody's family is perfect. And a lot of the times you don't know what someone's history is, so, like, you don't know, like, what their struggles were. And having a little glimpse into it kind of, you like, takes you there a little, and it's easier to identify. Just something to kind of start with is that my parents fought really bad. They had some really terrible fights. There was a cycle that played out very often in our house, which was my father working very late in a job that he hated, my mom not cooking anything for me and my brother because, like, whatever, like, and us, my brother and I being, like, super hungry by the time my dad got home, by like 9:30 or something, which I know doesn't sound late as an adult, but, like, when you have school the next morning and you're little, like, you need to eat, but, like, my son eats at, like, 5, and that would ensue just a fight between my family. My dad was working, my mom was mad at him for not sticking up for himself and coming home. He comes home, we're there, like, annoying him, like, oh, we're hungry. Him yelling at her and getting mad at her for not taking care of us, and then them just fighting, and me and my brother being, like, crying upstairs, like, really awful stuff. I know it sounds really bad, and it was, and that's why their relationship ended. So first we'll start with my mom and what I kind of took away from her and how I feel about the whole experience. My mom was really beautiful, but that didn't matter. She placed a lot on how she looked. I wouldn't say she thought she was the hottest person in the world or anything like that, but that's what she would have wanted. She was very self-conscious about her body. She was very thin, but she was like very small chested, and I know that always bothered her, and that kind of carried over into her feeling of not being enough, replacing that with kind of like a bitchy attitude and a jealous and like gonna like drive somebody crazy over jealousy. Lots of the reasons that they fought or arguments like that, like really goofy ones too. Like my dad I remember him like listening to like Enya all the time for like a period, and she'd be like, "What, are you in love with this woman?" Like really crazy things to say. But like it's just an example, like even Enya caused an argument, like I doubt that's what she was after. First of all, I felt very judged by her. She was very judgmental of herself. She was very judgmental of others. She's very judgmental of me. She's very critical across the board. So those are things that I picked up on, that I shaped myself after, because when you're little, you develop into what other people are like. Now, I'm not saying everyone is just like their family. I don't mean it like that. But you're going to pick up on something like that. You're bound to. So as I started to grow up as a young girl, I felt really bad about my body. I felt like I needed to be thinner. I felt like I needed all kinds of stuff. I felt like how she must have felt, that it was never going to be better. It was never going to be perfect. It was never going to be like always striving to like reach some type of goal, or just beating yourself up about it, having just like bad body confidence and I don't know, stuff like that. And as I started to date and see people, now I have to kind of correct myself because I think I said that I had one boyfriend in high school, and that wasn't really true when I started looking back. I had one boyfriend from like, I want to say freshman year, so like ninth grade, the beginning of ninth grade, basically all the way through like the beginning of 11th grade, probably, or around that time. So I dated someone for a long period of time. But after we broke up, I dated like, shorter relationships for the most part. Now, my first relationship, my first like long-term relationship with this person had a terrible toxic dynamic to it. It was cool at first, and then it ended up getting like really crazy and very like, like he ended up like dating someone else while we were dating, and I was like crazy to him too. Like it was, and as much as I'm saying this is the dance that I did, even when it comes down to like, having a couple short-term boyfriends and then having another long-term boyfriend who was the relationship was even more toxic than the original really toxic one. That's what I committed myself to. That's what I did. That's what I took part in. So I'm not blaming these people, and I'm not saying they couldn't be like wonderful people right now in their lives. Like I don't mean anything like that. But I can say for sure that they would probably agree that we had a toxic relationship and that neither one of us were happy, but we would be together because it was this cycle. It was like the fights were, you could pretty much predict them, like so-and-so's mad about this, then they say this to you, then this, and it all comes back around, you break up, you get back together, and then it like starts all over again. And that happens a lot, right, in like lots of relationships. So it wasn't until, I got out of this toxic relationship, I ended up seeing someone who was really nice, but it still wasn't a really healthy relationship. We both drank a lot, he drank a lot, and it just wasn't like a good place to be in, and we were engaged, and I somehow just was like, I'm gonna get out of this. Like something clicked where I was like, I can't do this. Like I can't do this for the rest of my life. And it started to, like, as we both had been growing a little over the couple of years we were together, we both started to kind of want different things as well. Like, so it made sense to end it. However, moving from that, which was better, that person was much better, but like the relationship still wasn't great, and there was still like a lot of really bad fighting again. What happened was how I kind of like grew out of it, and I don't even know what happened, but something clicked. After that relationship, I dated someone very briefly, kind of like a rebound, I guess. Like, I don't remember ever having a rebound before, but I would say this was in line with what I've learned about what rebounds are like. And it gave me this great opportunity to step back and reevaluate things. Now, what I picked up from my mother, I had been attached to. She had left when I was 15, so she had already been gone. And I feel like when she left, as twisted as it sounds, it was a really good thing for me. It created a void in my life, but it also created space. And it created space for me to fill with my own feminine energy in a sense, or at least develop, or I didn't have this like model to model myself after, even if I was like combative with it, like I'm still kind of like tied to it or whatever. But that space I created myself, and I started to see what I really cared about. Now, take it back to jealousy, which I've had jealousy as a big issue in all of my relationships up until a certain point between both sides. That like learning and just realizing that this was the most stupid, pointless emotion. Jealousy has no purpose. In fact, it's the leading cause of homicide. Like, it's a really horrible experience, feeling, and it serves no purpose. If someone makes you feel jealous, if your boyfriend or partner or girlfriend or whatever makes you feel jealous for some reason, that's something you need to look inside yourself and be like, are they doing something that I wouldn't be happy with? Like, are they being unfaithful? If that's important to you, then you would be like, I'm not going to be in a relationship because that's not of my standard. Or somebody might make you feel jealous, or you'll feel jealous, and you have to look at, where is this coming from? Is this valid? Do I have a reason to feel jealous? No, it's some weird thing. Oh, well, I need to work on getting rid of that. That's in me. Never to be like causing a fight with, or having this like twisted conversation with your partner and like accusing them or exposing all these like really horrible sides of yourself which come out with jealousy. I'm not saying you shouldn't open up to people, but like, work on your demons, like don't just like unload them on people. Have them help you to work through them, and like compromise. Like, that's what they're there for, but not to be just dumped on. Don't like emotionally dump on them. So back to like that rebound, I wasn't looking for anything in that relationship. I was just looking to, I don't know, meet new friends. I had just gotten out of a relationship, and I don't know, expand my social circle and just hang out. I don't know. It was cool. And this person who I have to give so much credit to, like I always think very fondly of this relationship and give it this credit, because not only did I make a ton of friends through this person, I had a ton of really cool experiences and like had fun, and they were like funny and nice to me. And you know, it ended and it was sad when it ended, but it wasn't sad for that long. And after that, it was just kind of funny, like, oh yeah, we dated, you know, like whatever. And it's not a big deal, you know. But that experience of being with someone who had lots of girlfriends, you know, like had lots of friends, was a little like out there in a lot of different ways and very like center of attention and stuff. That was very interesting for me. I've never really dated anyone like that. And that just forced me to be like, hey, if I'm involved with this, I gotta be cool with it. Like, not his problem, not his fault I feel insecure, or if I did feel insecure or anything like that. And it just washed away. Like, I have so much respect for this person and our relationship because it just washed away. And it wasn't anything that they did. It was just me finally being like, like whatever someone else does, it's always what I do in response to it that's going to affect me. I'm either going to walk away from it, or I'm going to, you know, hang out. Like, it's not like someone else's problem. After that, my relationships got a lot better, and they were still like, you know, dated people who I didn't really like settle down with or anything like that. But I had like very valid relationships that I learned a lot about myself in. And it was interesting because I got to date people who I didn't have this toxicity with. However, you know, it didn't work out. So I was able to learn like, you know, they're not a bad person. We're not fighting, but it doesn't feel right. So, you know, we'll all move on. And now I'm happy to say that I haven't had, you know, jealousy will come up for every feel. Like, it will come up, but like, you have to just be logical and say like, is that real? Judge it. If not, like, let it go, because that's in you and that's not the person. So just to wrap it up kind of regarding my mother, she had a very self-loathing kind of aspect, but was very bitchy, was very argumentative, was very, very strict with me, very strict, which is part of the reason we really butted heads, because I'm not really one that conforms to rules very easily when it comes to stuff like that. And you know, her leaving really gave me the space to take a different look at relationships. So in a way, I'm grateful for all that I experienced, for sure. I also respect her because she changed the dynamic with my dad. Now, was this best for everyone the way that she did it? Probably not. Did this really hurt and like mess up my dad? Yeah. But being in a toxic relationship definitely wasn't working. So she had to try something different. So I can see that. And you know, like, that is what it is. Now, for my dad, just to, you know, give him, just to share a little bit about him, he's very laid back. He's really strong and, like, good person and really kind. But I've definitely picked up some negative things from him as well. The main one from him that I've had to work through was that he does not value himself. For example, he worked in a job that he hated, that he had to come home late and fight with his wife. And he didn't get paid enough. Like, I remember money was definitely like an issue for us. You know, it wasn't like the main issue, but it was definitely there, you know, like you could tell there was a stress over it. And I think that he had always felt at this place that he wasn't appreciated, that he worked super long hours, that he didn't get paid enough and all this stuff. But he worked there until this place closed down. This guy worked there for like at least 20 years, probably more. I'm not 100% sure. Probably 25 years. I don't know, something crazy, and never changed a job. Always complained about this place. I don't remember anything fun, like him saying any like good story about it ever. And he never left. He just stayed there. So what does this tell a young person or someone who's growing up? That you hate your job, that you're just going to hate your job, but you got to do it. What are you going to do? You got to do it. You got to get a paycheck, like whatever. That you're going to work more than you should, and you're going to be paid less than you're due. You know, you're going to be paid, work more and paid less. Like, that was like another thing that I had to get over. And also that there was just no other option. Like, no, this is what you do. Don't, you know, what's the point of even thinking about other stuff, because like it doesn't come into action. Finally, there was a point where, this made sense. I think it was a realization of knowing this about him, but even years after was working to release myself from that. Like, it was really easy for me to see him and be like, oh, just try something different, do this, do that, like whatever it was. But it was always like a no, oh yeah, if only, but no, like one of those like, oh, like, oh, it sounds good, but no, like that kind of thing, like always, or that would be nice. And learning finally through just experience in my life, I can't tell you exactly where it comes from, but you gotta just do it. You just have to do it, and you have to put action to it. Think and dream and expand as big as you wish, but just do it. Just do it. And that was something that it took me a while to get past, like I'm an adult now, and it's only something that I've learned since I stopped working, since I was able to stop working in jobs that I hated, getting paid too little. So it's really interesting. Now, I'm not trying to say that my parents are like these like horrible people. Everyone has flaws. Everyone has strengths. My dad and my mom are both very funny. They're very funny people. They're very attractive and like likable, like if you spent some time with them, you would just like have a nice conversation most likely, and that would be it, but they were also they're people. They're people. That's really what it is. So what I'm just kind of sharing this for is that as we grow and expand, we're gonna have to look within and see what's really true to us, and that's not always easy. And it's also something that needs to be watched very carefully, because as you start to begin to identify these things, like for my dad as an example, I don't want to say like, oh, I don't make enough money and my dad didn't make enough money either, and like that's why, and like attach to it as if it has anything to do with it really. Like the real thing is my mindset. The real thing is how I play in this universe and how I play and do what I want to do and follow my passions and listen to science and whatever, So knowing these things is really important. However, don't attach to it. Just let it go. Work through it. It could take a little while. Work through it though and release it. If you're a jealous person and it comes from, or you fight in your relationships and it comes from seeing your parents fight all the time, work through that. No, like I'm prone to this. I'm going to work through this. I'm going to let it go, because when I really look at the big picture, this is not what I want, right? This isn't what I want. I don't want to feel like this or have this kind of shitty relationship or, shitty dynamic in my relationship. I'm going to work beyond it. I hope that you enjoyed this video and had something that you can take away from it. Thank you so much for your continued love and support. Like I said, I'm going to try to make up for the videos I missed this week, or the video I missed this week, next week. So give me a little time. Sorry about that. From the bottom of my heart, as always, namaste.